What's going on, family? Thank you for tuning in. Coming to you with a powerful message, a message that I want to share with you. I hope your day is going well. I'm going to teach a message today that's going to, some of you not going to agree with it. It's one of the messages I rarely teach because it's like kicking a sacred horse. Meaning sometimes there's myths, sometimes there's things that we've heard all our lives. And when we hear something that goes opposite of that myth or that tradition, we tend to not want to hear it. So I'm going to be saying some hard things. Not that it's too hard to understand, but like I said, just because it's going to come against tradition and it's going to come against things you may have been taught. But I'm gonna share it anyway. So I don't expect this live to have a million views, but it's what I've learned. I'm going to share with you a lot. Another reason I rarely teach on this is because it can seem it can be easily misunderstood, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. So I'm gonna try to do my best, the best I can, not to appear one way when I'm really not trying to be that one way. Okay, let me just get to what I'm saying. So you see the title of the message, it says college isn't for everyone, but learning is. College isn't for everyone, but learning is. Of course you want to encourage your kids and encourage everybody to go to college, but the truth of the matter is it isn't for everyone. I mean, it most definitely is a tool. It most definitely is a good resource. But you may go to college and figure out it wasn't for you. And but the thing that you need to know is a college is a business. They sell degrees. And because they sell degrees, they sell a myth. They sell well, they sell their benefits. And oftentimes we've fallen for this myth. And this myth is that a college degree equals a good job. Follow where I'm going. A college degree equals a good job. That is a myth. Now, I can't help you, but a college degree in your hand does not equal good paying job. And a lot of people have fell for that myth because their parents and everyone taught them that. And they taught them that because they heard it from their parents. And it didn't even work for them, but they was telling you that and pushing that in your head. And so that's what I want to talk about today. But listen, I want to be very clear. I want to be very clear because I don't want it to, like I said, I know it can seem one sided. So let me be clear about what I'm not saying versus what I'm trying to say. So, because like I said, it's good. I'm going to say some hard things, but let's just be clear up front, okay? I am by no means coming against a college degree. Because I'm gonna be saying some things, and you're gonna probably be thinking I'm one of them people that's, because people always say, "Oh, you ain't gotta shoot most of the millionaires that's out there don't have a degree." That, I'm not that person. I'm not even trying to, even though part of that's true, but that's not what I'm pushing here. So before I get into what I'm saying, I want you to have a proper perspective. I am by no means coming against going to college. I am by no means coming against getting a college degree. Everything is about perspective. I just want you to going to college is a good thing. As a matter of fact, let's look at this thing right here. But before I move that off, once again, college is a business. Universities, they are business and they sell degrees. And just like any other business, I'm gonna sell you the benefit. I'm gonna say, hey, come here and this go change your life. This go change your future. Get a degree, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you have that wrong perception and you thinking that a paper in your hand is what's going to do it, you're going in it the wrong way. So listen, like I said, I'm not coming against college. Go to college. Just be careful what you learn. I got that out of a book. I can't remember the man's name, but he wrote a book called Good Debt, Bad Debt. And I always like that quote. He said something on the lines of that. Go to college. No, I'm not saying don't go to college. Go to college. Just be careful what you learn. And I'm going to share a journey with me. I'm going to share with you today my educational journey. All right. Like I said, uh, if you feel like I'm saying something and you disagree with it, don't listen. Don't take it to heart. Listen, I'm just doing a live. I'm sharing the lessons that I've learned, and I'm sharing with those who want to hear. So don't inbox me. Don't try to challenge me in the in the comment section. I'm just sharing with you what I've learned. And hey, you can go do your own live. You can go write your own book, but just hear me out. All right. So go to college. Just be careful what you learn. Listen, if you have someone in your family, a child or a nephew, or somebody you're mentoring that's going to college or in college, you want to let them watch this video. And of course, you can watch it to the end so you can hear everything I got to say. But they most definitely need to hear this message, whether they're a senior in high school or they're already in college or they're about to graduate, depending on when you're watching this video. You want to let them hear this video because a lot of them have a wrong perception, whether it was from somebody else or wherever it came from. But they need to go to college when they're right. Like I'm not saying don't go to college, but be careful what you learn. They need to go in there with a proper perspective. All right. So listen, let me just share with you. Just walk with me. I'm gonna share with you my educational journey. All right. And it started when I was young. When I was in kindergarten, from elementary school. I was very smart, straight A student. And I remember the time. I remember I was coming. My grandmother owned a cafe that was across the street from the house, and my mother was in the cafe eating dinner or whatever. And I remember bringing her my report card. And I remember of some guys, just different people, women and guys, adults around. And they was like, "Oh, you bringing that report card?" I was in trouble, but I gave her a report card, and I had straight A's and two A minuses. And I remember some of them adults giving me money. And I said, "Oh man!" So that's the first time I connected education with reward, right? I said, "Oh man, I got some A's, and they gave me money. I was rewarded for being smart." And so I like that, man. So I was proud and honored to come home and show my mama our report card. Straight A's, straight A's. I got straight A's until I got into the fourth grade, I believe, when I finally got my first B. But I was still smart. I was still nailing it. And I remember when I was in middle school, I can't remember if I think it was middle school. Computers might have been before middle school, but I remember when computers wasn't a popular thing like it is now. You go in the classroom, so you got your own computer now. But during that time, you didn't have a computer. It wasn't even really a computer in the classroom. But I remember when they was introducing it, and I remember this one summer, I was able to take this program. I can't remember. I know I had to do it because I was smart, but I don't know if my mother had to pay for it. I believe she had to pay for it too. But and it was teaching on this computer class. And I remember going and I was like, "Oh man," and they kept saying, "Oh, you smart," and computers was the newest thing. And man, you go be that guy that's gonna learn computers. And I adopted that that thought. I liked it. I went to that class. I remember my stepfather would drop me off and pick me up. And after he picked me up, he would stop by. He didn't do it every time, but he would stop by Shipley's Donuts. And I remember getting this cream filled donut glaze. I still love it to this day. It was some vanilla ice cream. And that's when I fell in love with the. Anyway, I'm getting off track. But that was when I said, "Okay, that's it. Computers is going to be my thing. Computers is going to be my career. This is what I want to do when I grow up." And it was because I took that class and I was smart and it was new and I just felt, I just felt brilliant. And so time goes on. So I kept saying, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to be something with computers. I didn't know what in computers. I didn't know the different categories of computers. You know, there's programming, there's like repair, there's network engineers, there's IT. I didn't know any of that, but I was going off of this notion that I'm gonna work in computers. And to me, I thought that was my passion. To me, I thought that was my thing. It was an interest. I was interested, and it's something I wanted to do. But I'm young, you know. So anyway, let's continue the educational journey. So I got to high school, still smart. Ninth grade, 15 years old, lost my virginity and started what I call smelling yourself. You ever heard that phrase before? I started smelling myself. I'm chasing girls now. I'm distracted. I'm young and dumb now. And I started skipping school. And I remember I was skipping school, but I was still smart in school. I was skipping school, but I was still smart in school. And I remember you could miss 10 days out of the whole year. That was your limit. You couldn't miss no more than 10 days out of the whole year. I missed 20 days in one semester in my ninth grade year. And by no means shouldn't have been able to go to the next grade. But when my mother found out about it and talked with the principal, they said, hey, he's very smart because he's still getting straight A's. I was still getting straight A's and B's even though I wasn't there. They said, we just can't get him to stay here. He just missed every other day. He got to miss 2 or 3 days a week. And so they worked it out, but I still passed because of my grades. I shouldn't have because I missed 20 days in one semester. But my mother had a one-on-one with me, and so I said, okay, I can't skip school no more. All right. So I hope y'all following me so far. So far I'm skipping school, distracted, but I'm still smart, still getting my education. And so by 10th grade year, that's when it started affecting my grades. 10th grade year, I was totally distracted. I wasn't doing homework. I'm on the phone talking to girls, totally distracted. That became my new passion. That became my new focus. And I remember talking on the phone with a girl one time. She said, you know what? We be talking on the phone all the time. She said, but I'd never be on the phone with you and you'd be like, let me call you back because I got to do my homework. You talk about somebody who went from straight A's and B's to now I'm just totally distracted. And I failed the 10th grade. I failed the 10th grade. That's when my mother said, okay, that's it. She done did all she could. She saw the distraction I was having. I teach about that also in if you got this first book, I teach about it in chapter 3, I believe. Yeah, chapter 3 in this book, if you want to go deeper into that story. Because I had the wrong influence. I was hanging around the wrong people. I was hanging around I was hanging with people that skipping school, and it affected me. But I teach on that. As a matter of fact, if you want to know more about the power of influence, read this book. This is coming to me. I'm not even really trying to sell the book, but chapter, I can't remember what chapter is. Anyway, I got a chapter in this book. I think it's chapter 4. Yeah, it's chapter 4. I don't know why I couldn't remember that because it's my favorite chapter on the power of negative influence. You most definitely want to read that chapter 4 out of this book. But my personal story, like I said, I wrote it in here in chapter 3. So anyway, so I was distracted. And that's when mother said, okay, now you got to go live with your father. So I went to go live with my father. And what's going on, Jed? I went to go live with my father. And that's how I came to here to Wilmington, North Carolina, because I was living in Mississippi. So I'm giving y'all the short version. So I came here, and so now when I was here, I was kind of up and down with school. I got here, you know, I like one report card I do good, next report card I do bad. I kept going up and down, and so I was constantly on punishment. Because when I do the bad report card, my father put me on punishment. You can't talk on the phone. You can't do this. You can't go nowhere. And you know, and then I do good because I'm on punishment, and then I try to stay focused. And I was staying here. I remember my younger brother Brandon. He was the smart one. And I remember one time I got because my grades was, like I said, I'm at this point now where I'm distracted and I used to be smart. You follow what I'm saying? At this time. And I remember when I was like in the 11th grade or something, I remember bringing home a report card one time. I had A's, B's, and two C's. And my dad said, "Oh, shoot, it gave me some money." Once again, I got a reward. But my younger brother, he was the smart one. I remember he came home with two C's. He had A's and B's and two C's. He got on punishment. But that's because that he was still smart. You see what I'm saying? That was an improvement for me because I wasn't, my smart stopped at ninth grade when I got distracted. So anyway, so I would go up and down. Sometimes I'm on punishment, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm on punishment, sometimes I'm not. So I graduated high school and getting ready to go to college. And I still got computers on my mind. I'm majoring in I'm a major in computer science because I still was in love with the computers from that time I took that class when I was in elementary. I'm still sticking to the goal. And so I went to college and I majored in computer. In my first semester, I got straight B's. But when you first start, you don't start off in your major. You start on some basic classes. And I got straight B's. I was focused. I was determined not to let college get the best of me, not to get distracted in college. I had straight B's, 3.0. And man, that was the first semester. And then the second semester, that's when I started wilding out. I was actually wilding out before then too, but I still had my focus. But I took my first computer science class, I remember. It was a computer programming class. And that class was hard, man. I said, "Oh man," I messed around and failed the class. I said, "Oh man, this ain't a good start here. I get to take my first class in my major and I failed it." I said, "Oh man, maybe I need to stay focused. Maybe I need to stay focused." So I took the class again the next semester. They said, "You need to get a different teacher." That teacher was hard. I said, "Okay, so I got a different teacher." So I took the second class. It got hard. I started failing. This time I withdrew from the class. I said, "Okay, hold up. Let me pause time out." So I withdrew from the class and then I came back, taking it the third time. I said, if I don't pass it this time, I'm not gonna withdraw. If I don't pass it this time, I'm gonna have to reconsider this thing. And so I took that third class and I was doing good for about 3 weeks. And then there was a program that was because it was something I always do every week. And I remember that one time it was something to do and I was late turning it in. By the time I got to turn that in, there's another project due and another project due and another project due. And I'm still like, okay, I still ain't got past this one yet. I need help with it. And man, I wind up failing that. And so I wind up not being able. I said, I got to change my major. 75%, that statistic may be different now, but during that time, 75% of people change their major. 75% of people change their major when they go to college. So college is good. One of the things that college is good for is figuring out what you want to do. And I was like, man, I really wanted the computer thing, but it's hard. And I remember having the pressure of time, meaning, okay, next semester coming, what you go take? And I'm still trying to figure things out. I'm like, this ain't working. But they like, okay, you got to go ahead and pick your classes for next semester. I'm like, oh, okay. And I remember I had to just choose a major. They was like, okay, you need to declare your major. I was like, yeah, but I'm having issues. And I remember the pressure of time. Okay, you need to turn this paperwork in and tell them what you're going to major. And I said, criminal justice. So I took criminal justice. And I was trying to find something that wasn't as hard. And I said, okay, maybe I'll be a parole officer or something. They kept saying, what you gonna do with criminal justice? I said, well, I'm not gonna be a police officer. I know that for sure. You gotta remember I was Earl then too. This was before Christ. I said, man, I'm wilding out. I said, I most definitely ain't about to be a police officer. They said, well, you could be a parole officer or probation officer. I said, man, we're going around having people checking checking them for drug tests. I'd probably be on drugs too. Just being honest. I said, I'm not gonna be a lawyer. I said, okay, well, I'm gonna be a parole officer. And I remember one guy, one of them, so grown, one of the family friends. I remember him saying, "Oh, you done switch from computer to criminal justice?" He said, "Oh, you don't want to make no money. You don't want to make no money. I thought you wanted to make some money." I was like, "Well, I tried the computer thing, but it just wasn't working." And I remember taking the criminal justice, thought it would be easier, but it wasn't. And it wasn't that it was so hard, but I just ain't had no desire for it. I was taking classes I didn't want to be in there. It was boring. And I started struggling. I was withdraw. I drop out. I was struggling. I said, you know what? I need to go ahead and major in this dang on computer or try it one more time. And I remember I kept lying to my parents because my brother got ready. He about to graduate. My youngest brother, we went to college at the same time. He about to graduate. And I kept lying to my parents. And whatever the time would be, like right now, like just say for example, is October. I would tell them, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna graduate probably this summer or next summer, and you know the next year." And when that time get closer, I would push the date off again. "Oh yeah, I'm graduating not this semester, but next semester." I would know what near about to graduate. And so in their mind, they keep thinking, "Okay, is he about to graduate soon?" And I remember this one day I said, I was going to Fayetteville State University. I had to come home and go to a community college because I kept failing so much that I wasn't getting any financial aid. I couldn't pay for it out of pocket. Daddy said, "Come on home, go to Cape Fear." So I said, "Okay." That's a local community college here. So I went to Cape Fear. Excuse me. And I said, "You know what? I'm going to try this computer thing one more time. And if I don't pass it this time, maybe I wasn't focused." Because, I was partying up at Fayetteville State. So maybe I was focused and I really want to do the computer thing. So I'm going to major in computers. I'm going to try it one more time. If I fail at it this time, I'll just be a bum. That's literally what I said to myself. Just be a regular person working wherever, right? And so I majored in computer this time. This time I was more focused. This time I was more concentrated. It was a journey, but I made it through. I get a long version of that part later, but I made it through. And I remember getting ready to graduate. I remember I had I had a certificate in electronics. I had a certificate in uh, computer engineering. I'm about to get a degree in computer engineering. And I remember being in my job. I was working at a hotel. And I remember the manager, somebody was getting on my nerves. And I remember I looked at one of my friends, my coworkers. I said, "Man, I'd be glad, boy, I'm glad I don't have to put up with this for long." Because in my mind, I'm about to graduate. And when I graduate, I'm about to get a good job. I'll be glad when I leave here. And I had moved up from I was a bus boy and I was at room service, and I never wanted to pursue any management roles or anything like that because I was like, man, I'm just here. It's just temporary. As soon as I get this degree, I'm gone. I'm taking off because I fell for a myth. It wasn't about the degree. And a lot of people have fallen for that same myth. You thinking as soon as I get this degree, oh, I ain't got to work here no more. And there are some cases where that may happen, but if you don't have the wrong perspective, I said, man, I can't wait till I graduate. I'll be through with this place here. And then I graduated with a degree in computer engineering technology, but I didn't learn computer engineering technology. I want you to chew on that for a minute. I'm gonna say it again. I got a degree in computer engineering technology. Shoot, as a matter of fact, if you could have said, "Hey, you can buy your degree," I would have bought it. Because in my mind, as soon as I get this paper, I'm gonna go get me a computer job. I'm gonna be making a lot of money. I don't even know what I'm gonna be doing in computers. I just thinking, hey, as soon as I get this degree, I'm taking off. But it didn't happen that way. I got the degree, but I couldn't get a job. I ain't had no experience. Then I was like, okay, I need to get some certifications, and I got a book. I'm trying to keep up with it, but I'm still at this job, and I got saved during this time too. Before I graduated, I got saved at a college. I gave my life to Christ. A lot of you heard my testimony, but I gave my life to Christ at a college, in a book club, in a Bible book club. I got saved on my campus at Cape Fear Community College. We're still talking about college. Be, Go to college, but be careful what you learn. Listen, my greatest college experience is not when I received the A, but it's when I received the anointing. My greatest victory in college was not when I walked across the stage. It was when I walked from darkness to light in the college. Mm. I got saved in college, and I remember God telling me, because I was at my job, but I wasn't looking trying to grow. I mean, I worked hard. I was always a hard worker before Christ and after Christ. But He said, prosper where you're at until you get where you're going. Prosper where you're at until you get where you're going. But Lord, this ain't my dream job. It don't matter. You're there, right? Prosper where you're at. Elevate where you're at until you figure out where you're going, or until you get to your dream job. And so that from that moment, I was working at room service. From that moment, I said, okay, while I'm here, until I figure this thing out, I'm going to prosper on my job. And that's when I began. I shared this story in another teaching called, I shared it in a couple of teachers, but many of you, if you catch that teaching I had called the excellence of knowledge gives you the advantage. Go find that teaching. Because we're still on the Spirit of Excellence series. This teaching is part of the Spirit of Excellence series. But go find that. I'll probably try to put the link in here later. But the excellence of knowledge gives you the advantage. Now, so far, everything I've told you, as far as school, as far as college, hasn't really helped me. It's helped me some. Like I said, I wouldn't take it back. I wouldn't say if I could do it again, I wouldn't go. No, I most definitely would have went. But I remember being in college, and I had a situation where I had to. I'm trying not to. I don't want to tell that whole long version, but it was a situation where I had to take some time off from school. And I said, you know what? It was 2005, and I remember saying, I'm going to educate myself, because people kept saying, well, you need to get continued education. Well, go get your associates, then go get your bachelor's. And see, a lot of you are going out there, you're going to get your associates, and then you find out that the myth wasn't real, and you're still working at the same place. And then somebody say, "Hell, you need to get some continued education," and so then you go get your master's, and then you go get your PhD. And for a lot of you, your bachelor degree just meant you were single. I'm being facetious. A lot of you got a master's, but just to find out you're a master of none. A lot of you got a PhD, but it just stood for post hole digger, because you went at it with the wrong perspective. You went at it with the wrong perspective. So, Billy, is it wrong to get it? You saying it's wrong to get a degree? No. A college degree is not bad. The myth is, I'm going to say that again. The degree is not what's bad. The myth is, and that is, well, if I just get this paper, I'm good. Stay with me. Stay with me. They get this quote right here from Mark Twain. He says, never let formal education get in the way of your learning. Never let formal education get in the way of your learning. Did he say education was bad? No. But he said, don't let it get in the way of your learning. Learning is the key. College isn't for everybody, but learning is. Learning is the key. Learning is the key. And so I figured out that computers, okay, let me get back. So in 2005, I said, I was took off some time from school because I figured out continued education wasn't the answer that I needed. It wasn't continual education, it was continual learning. That's the difference. And so I began to map my life out and I began to do a self study. I went to school myself and I bought these books and I invested in myself. I invested in myself. It was 2005. I bought, I believe it was 36 books. I did a teaching on that, live on that too. I try to find it and share it today. But, and I began to learn. And like I said, find that teaching, this, the excellence of knowledge gives you the advantage. And I show you how I prospered on every job. And this was the beginning when I was at that hotel working room service, and I came to the realization that this paper isn't going to equal a good job. And I remember reading these books, and I remember reading this one particular book. I don't know which book I read it out of or heard it. So, but anyway, I remember the person asked the question, the author asked the question. He says, what is that one thing that you love to do that you'll do it for free? What's that thing that they'll catch you doing at any given time? What is that one thing? And by this time, I was teaching the word. Remember, I got saved in college. I found out my calling was to teach, and I was teaching the word. But when he asked that question, I didn't want to. I said I was teaching the word, but in my mind, I'm like, I can't. That's not a career. I mean, I don't want to be a pastor. I mean, but one thing that I realized was it wasn't computers. Because guess what? I wasn't that computer guy. I wasn't that computer geek. I wasn't that guy that just loved computers. I'm working on computers or doing some programming. No, I was only doing it to get a good check. If I wouldn't get paid doing, I wouldn't be doing it. Are you following me? So computers was an interest, but it wasn't my passion. I had more passion in the customer service working at the hotel than I had with the computers. I was just trying to do the computers because, hey, this is a good field. It was you make good money, and I want to make good money and be able to buy my mama a house and buy myself. You know what I'm saying? You want to succeed. You want to be successful, but it wasn't my passion. And that was at the point that I realized computers wasn't it. And I know my journey sounds crazy because people look at me and especially if they ask me, do I got a degree? And I say, yeah, I got a degree in computers. And in their mind, they're like, okay, well, why you here? Why you? I know it's crazy. And I probably ain't fully explained it all, but it wasn't my passion. And the problem is I got a degree in it, but I didn't learn. I barely passed. I barely got the degree, but I didn't learn computer. Maybe I could have focused on it and learned it, and a degree would have helped me get in the door. But truthfully, if somebody gave me a job because I had a degree, I wouldn't have lasted long because I didn't learn computers. I didn't learn computers. I hope y'all follow me. So during this journey, I realized computers wasn't it. And my passion was teaching the word of God. And I was like, man, I'm going to make money doing that. How am I going to make a career doing that? And I remember the Lord, it was through this author, but he said, you probably saying, you like to talk. And you probably saying, well, how am I make money talking? You can't make no money talking. And he said something on the lines like, well, I'm glad Oprah Winfrey didn't hear that because she started making money talking. And he gave all these examples just like that or these different things that you'll say, well, I like that, but you'll choose not to do that because in your mind, how am I gonna do a career out of that? And he had these perfect examples, of people who did things that seem unheard of. And he said, don't worry about how you gonna do it or what you gonna do. You just figure out what you love to do, and you need to do it. Figure out what you love to do, and you do it. And that's how I got on the journey of teaching. That's how I started writing books. And that's still my goal. My goal is to be a full-time writer because that's my passion. That's my love. That's my heart. It's teaching the Word of God, showing you the Word of God, writing books. That's my passion. Computers isn't. And I'm not at the point where I'm making, um, um, where this is my doing my business full time. That's okay because I was good. I had a knack and a gift for customer service too, and that's what I do now. But this passion even outweighs that. And so what you do is you do your bit you work a job full time and you do your business part time until it becomes full time. If you're out there, let me know you're there. Hit the hearts. If you're getting anything out of it. Let's look at another quote. This is by Theodore Roosevelt. He said, "A thorough knowledge of the Bible is worth more than a college education." Like I said, once again, not saying that college education isn't worth anything, it's worth a lot. But he says a thorough knowledge of the Bible is worth more. Knowledge is what you want to get. When I was at that, doing that room service job, and I started reading the books, educating myself. I ain't talking about training on the job. I'm talking about my personal development of getting better. And that's when I started to succeed. Not because of anything I learned in school, but because of what I learned uh, through personal development, investing time, developing myself. And that's when I got the promotion. That's when I got the raise. That's when I got the increase. And every job since then, that's what's helped me. Not my degree. I've been to jobs they have even looked. I mean, in the interview they might have asked me about it, but they didn't hire me because of my degree. They hired me because of my knowledge. And that's what I'm trying to get across to you. I want you to get to the learning. Listen, so check this out. So let me get to this. Let me say this real clear right here. Let me put this right here. Because I think you should go to college. If y'all got any of your young people watching. I'm not saying don't go to college, but go with the right perspective. And this is the reason I think you should go to college. College should be a resource that helps you to master what you're learning. That's the key, is mastery. That's what you're aiming for. You're not aiming for a degree, you're aiming for mastery. And I talk about this. I even got a live, like I said, I've taught on this a couple times. I got a live that I taught on mastery, which is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That live that I told you about, the excellence of knowledge, gives you the advantage. You most definitely want to watch that. And I teach you on the same thing, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I show you how to apply that to where it helps you to master whatever you're doing. And once you master something, favor comes. Once you master something, promotion comes. Once you master something, increase comes. The success and all of that is in the mastery. The valuable, what determines your value, your what makes you valuable is not the degree. What makes you valuable is your mastery. And there's only one way to get to mastery, and that's to gain knowledge. That's to apply wisdom, and that's to get understanding. What are you doing to increase your learning? You thought, oh man, they're not paying me enough. Let me go get some continued education. Let me go get my master's, and maybe they'll pay me more. They say if you get a master's, you get $10,000 more a year. And you listen to these things, and you fall for these things, and you go spend countless of dollars to learn this lesson I'm trying to show you. We've fallen for the myth so much that you will go and you will get a loan that's going to take you. And they tell you things like this. Oh, don't worry about the loan because you don't have to start paying on it until 6 months after you graduate. But you'll have a job by then. And so that'll be easy. You won't have to worry about it by then. And so you bank on that. I know I'm ruffling some feathers. I know some of you probably, like I said, because we've been taught it so long, we've fallen for it. And you went in with the wrong perspective. There's only one reason. Now, listen. Some things require a college education. You want to be a doctor, you gotta go to college. You want to be a lawyer, you gotta go to college. There's certain things, of course, require you to go to college. But whatever you major in, this is the reason you need to go. It need to be a resource. This is what college is. This is why I'm going to the university. If I ever go back to college, it's going to be for this reason here. Not because I want to get a higher degree. It's because it's going to be a resource that's going to help me to master my craft. And college isn't the only thing that can help you master your craft. It can be. And if it is, you should go. But how many books have you bought on Amazon? How many ebooks you bought on Amazon? How many YouTube videos have you watched on the subject you're trying to master? This is what's helped me. I've given you the secret. I've given it to you in these lives. And then I told you this here already with my story. College will help you figure out what you really want to do. So you might go and you might say, hey, all this time I thought I was going to be a fireman, but when you get to college, it's kind of like a reality check. It's going to let you know, okay, this is it. I remember this lady who wanted to be a nurse because she heard nurses make all this money out. And so she went to school for it. I remember her having the scrubs and everything. And then she had some clinicals and had to clean a grown person who used the bathroom on themselves. And they realized it wasn't their passion. And she changed the major. If you're doing something just for the money, you go quit when it get hard because you didn't have a passion. And I didn't have compassion. I didn't have passion for computers. It was just an interest. It was something I was interested in. And I would have loved to have an IT job or something. I know people that make good money making in computers, but it just wasn't my passion. I remember I mentored this young girl. I was giving her some mentoring advice, and she was getting ready to go to college, and she was about to go to A&T, and she didn't have really good focus. She was distracted. It reminded me of me when I was distracted in high school. And I told her, I said, listen, you can go to whatever college you want to, but I encourage you not to go to this college. A&T is a party school, and it's going to mess with your focus. Now, am I saying A&T is a bad school? No. I know good people. I got friends that graduated from A&T and got good jobs. They got degrees in engineering. So I'm not coming against the school. Like I said, that's why I hate teaching this message, because things can get so interpreted wrong. But for this girl, she wasn't going to be able to handle it because of her lack of focus. And I said to her, I told her these words. These are the words I said. I said, I wouldn't go to that school because of your lack of focus. And you'll mess around and go and wind up coming home in a year. She didn't listen. She went anyway. And she was home in a year. Listen, it's worth repeating. Go to college. Just be careful what you learn. I went to college at Fayetteville State for 3 years and figured out that you don't get a degree in partying. Go to college. Just be careful what you learn. But if you want to get serious about your life, if you want to get serious about your life, I don't care if you're going to college part time and working at this job that you just feel that is going to be temporary until you get your degree. You prosper on that job. You prosper on that job. All right, let's see. You know what? That might be it. Let me see. I got some. So that's it. That's it. So listen, I hope y'all got some out of this. Let me see if I got any comments in here. Okay, I'm good. But yeah, college isn't for everyone. Like I said, share this message with somebody who that you know that's a senior in high school or getting ready to graduate, or maybe they already in college. They need to hear this message because they need to go in college with a proper perspective. Because if not, they just go think, oh, should I get this degree? I'm gonna be good. And then once I graduate, I know I don't spend $50,000 on this college loan and to go to this university. But you know what? After I graduate, I'm gonna have a good job. So in 6 months, they'll start hitting me with the bill, and I just pay that thing off. And now, and you in 6 months, you might be still working at that job you was working at in high school, trying to find a job, and the bills start coming, and that's when you get hit with the reality of I fell for the myth. And your parents went through the same thing. But they told you that because that's what they was taught. Just go to college. You know, Robert Kiyosaki, a lot of you read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he always speaks on, you know, this the myth. And he's more hardcore with it than I'm coming at. You know, but he, you know, but that's the myth. Hey, you need to go to college, get you a degree so you can get a good job. And that has become the formula. But it's too broad. It's too broad. And then you may realize that college isn't for me, and then you have the pressure of not wanting to drop out because of what people are going to say, because everybody's always on that one myth: go to college, get a good education, you know. And I get it, they don't want you to be freeloading. I remember when I did decide to change my major back to computer. Remember I told you I had been lying to my parents saying I'm about to graduate. And I'm gonna say this, and then I'll bring it to a close. When I changed my major, and I get it from their perspective because I had been lying to them in their mind. They thinking I'm about to graduate in you know in 6 months or whatever because I'm lying. When they found out I changed my major, it was almost like, why is he starting over? What is he doing, right? And I told my mother, I don't know if he heard me on the phone talking to my mother or my mother told him or whatever. I don't know. But I remember the day my daughter had my daughter in my hand. She was a baby, and her and her mother was in the room, and he was like, "I want to talk to you." And I was like, "Okay." I'm thinking he just wanted to talk, but he wanted to talk to everybody. It was a family meeting, and he started going off. Yeah, I heard you changing your major, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm switching the computer because I figure it's my life. It's just this is what I want to do. I don't really want to do criminal justice, and I just need to give it one more shot." And in his mind, he was thinking, I'm just trying to freeload and, using him because my younger brother graduating and, getting an apartment. I'm just, just still at the house. And I get the perspective he had. And I remember him going off yelling. And I remember holding my daughter. And my daughter started crying because he's yelling and it probably looked like he's yelling at her. And I remember she started crying. I remember that made me so upset. I was mad, man. Because, you can yell at me, but don't be doing this stuff in front of my kids. And he gave me an ultimatum. He said, because this was like August. He said, you got to December to get out of here. And with pride in my chest. I said, I'll be gone before then. I ain't have no car. I ain't even know how to drive. And I'm working a job, ain't made enough money to. But boldness said, I'll be gone before then. And I remember having the stress of like, I'm gonna figure this out here, man. I don't said that, but I don't know what I'm gonna do. I said, but I'm gonna change majors because I don't really want to do that. And he died that October. That following October, he died. The February following that, I got saved. And once I got saved, that's when I began to learn. I was never a book reader. I never grew up, even when I was in high school, my youngest brother would read books all the time. And I didn't read books. If it ain't had nothing to do with school, that's the only book I'm going to read. If I got to read it for school, a textbook. And I remember them saying, you need to read to increase your vocabulary so you can take these SATs and ASVAB tests and all these tests. And I was just Earl. I was just young. I wasn't really, I ain't read no book. And I remember it wasn't until I was in college. I remember I was dating a girl, and she worked at this some Muslim shop, and they had a lot of books in there. And I remember getting this one book called Visions for Men. Visions for Men, and that was probably the first book I read that was non-fictional and informational. And then that led me to reading the fiction book. I remember we was in there and she had this book. It was a book by Terry McMillan called Waiting to Exhale. This book she had called Mama. This was before Waiting to Exhale, the movie and all of that. And I remember beginning to read these books. So I'm increasing my reading. This is the first time I'm starting to just read just regular fiction books. And then I came into another author named Walter Ramsley. And I remember he had a book, Devil in the Blue Dress, and that became a movie too. But it wasn't until when I got saved is when I began to want to learn more. I was reading the Bible. I started off reading the Bible, and I was learning the scriptures. But sometimes the Bible could be hard, so then I would get books that would help me, you know, to understand. Okay, what the Bible say about prayer. But let me get a book, and I begin to read, and now I'm reading to learn, and I begin to gain information. And then I became an avid reader. I remember the first year I read 8 books. That was a lot for me. I read 8 books in 1 year. And then I remember one of my best friends, Cornelius, he said Miles Monroe read 12 books a year. And I said, oh man, I ain't never think about it like that. Because when I read the 8 books that year, it wasn't by intention. I was just reading, and that's just how the number came up. I ain't had no method. I ain't have no schedule. I just was reading, and by the end of the year, I had 8 books. I said, man, I need to get organized because I was learning about order. And I said, man, I'm going to do that. And I wound up reading 36 books that year. That's the most I've ever read in 1 year. I haven't done it since. But that year, that was 2005, benefited me way more than any education of any schooling I've ever had. And to this day, there's still evidence of things I learned from 2005, that year, from all those books I read. From all those books I read. There's a quote by Benjamin Franklin. I got to paraphrase it. I don't have it in here. But it says something about investing in yourself pays the best interest. Investing in yourself pays the best interest. And that's as far as learning. Are you following me? Just the books I read. I ain't even talking about the other years. I ain't even talking about the books I read this year. Just the books I read in 2005. I can show you right now evidence that where I'm still gleaning. One of the books I read in 2005, it was a book on how to write books. And I'm still writing books today. Why? Because I learned. Listen, this is one of my quotes right here. I don't know if you see this shirt. It says, "Never be learned, always be learning. Never be learned, always be learning." This is one of my quotes because it's not about continued education. It's about continual learning. Never be learned. Oh, I already know that. Oh, I learned that last year. No, continual learning. Listen, when I was working at the hotel, at hospitality, I learned so much. I had book after book after book on customer service. One of the books cost $40. I remember most I've ever paid for a book during that time to learn, and I began to master it. Now I remember I became real good at customer service, and I was able to make a person feel like $1,000,000 when they come into my presence. But I didn't know how to handle a person when they had an error, when they had a mistake, or like the food cold, sir, my food is cold. I didn't know how to handle that. I know how to do it when everything's perfect, when everything's good. Oh, I can woo you, but how do I take care of you when you're upset? I remember going to Lord led me to a book that helped me learn. It was called Service Recovery. And I didn't even know about it. But it was because of my continual learning, but because of my continued search. And I began to learn how to master when somebody had an issue. And I turned them into customers more than the people that didn't have a problem. But that's another story for another time. What helped me? My algebra class in school? No. It was my continued learning that helped me master my craft. So if I was to go to college right now, it would either be for something with hospitality or something that's dealing with maybe business or market, something that's doing something in my life right now that's going to help me to master, that's going to take me to the next level. Got nothing to do with a degree. Got nothing to do with a degree. I'm not doing it for a paper. I'm not doing it to say, oh, I got a bachelor and or I got a master's and I got a PhD. No, I'm not doing it for the clout. I'm doing it for the learning, the mastery. The key is the mastery. What's going to help you master your craft? And listen, share this video. Um, Also, let me share this with you right quick before you go. Let's see. How can I do this here? Uh-oh. All right, this is what I want to share with you right here. Let's see. If you're serious about wanting to learn, oh yeah, by the way, if you like this shirt, it's available in black, and navy, and it's a different version of it. I had it on one of my other live. Just go to my website, whateverdevil.com. See the website right there? Whateverdevil.com. And just type learning in the search. Just type learning in the search. If you're interested in this search, this shirt is one of my newest quotes. Never be learned, always be learning. And that's pretty much the theme of this message here. Always be learning. Continual learning is what's going to help you to master. Listen, I've written 4 books. I've shared my knowledge. I've poured my heart out into these 4 books. And these books are going to change your life. And these books are way cheaper than a college textbook. And the college book is going to help you get an A. But these books are going to help you get an A in life. And if you're serious about learning, if you're watching me and you never read any of my books, this is what I want you to do. I have all 4 of these books. I call it the Library of Billie Miller. All 4 of these books. I got it for a reasonable price for $44. For 4 books, you get the whole library. The book by itself is retailed at $16.95. Now you do the math on that. You're getting 4 books for $44. And And these 4 books are going to change your life. And they're going to help you master life. You're not going to learn this in college. You're not going to learn what I share at a university. Unless I can get them in there. But this is going to teach you. All 4 books. Well, Billy, that's a whole lot of books. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read all that. You ain't got to read all of them at once. But guess what? Once you start reading one, and you start seeing all the nuggets up in here, you already have the rest lined up waiting. Make a schedule. Like Miles Monroe read 12 books a year. And I did the same thing. I wound up reading 36 books one year. Now, that's a lot of books. I'm not telling you to go read 36 books, but I did that one year. Listen, here's 4 to put in your schedule of reading. Well, Billy, I already got 2 of them books. Well, go ahead and get the set and give the other 2 to somebody else. Well, Billy, I already got all 4 of your books. Well, you the real MVP. And you know, because you have all 4 of the books, how valuable this is. So go ahead and get it for somebody you love. All right? I have other combinations on there too. I got the life package. If you just for some reason, hey, Billy, my money's tight. I know $44 is a good deal, but I can't do the 44. Okay, that's fine. Then go ahead and get these 2 books here. It's called the life package for $20. That's a good deal. Same thing, the Whatever Devil book set. Same thing, 2 books, $20. Each book, $16.95. But you can get the combos and makes it super affordable. Also, go to my website, whateverdevil.com, right there, and get my free. It's a PDF file. This is just a prototype. It's called "You Can't Quit Now." This book is for free. It's an ebook though. It's a PDF file. I'm gonna give it to you for free. All right. Called "You Can't Quit Now," just for visiting the website. So go check out my website. Like I said, get the shirt, get the books. But even if you decide not to get anything, before you leave, at least pick up the free book. You Can't Quit Now. All right. That's my time. Listen, y'all take care. Y'all stay up. Y'all stay blessed. And always remember that the word is your life.